I am reading a chapter called Metaphor. Perhaps the greatest influence on me was when I read The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy back in 1985. I was in 6th grade. I invited these stories into my life because I felt no sense of being manipulated by someone. The stories came as a sweet-smelling, buttered popcorn or freshly baked bread. I was defensive and hardened boy at the time. I believe Jesus used the Lord of the Rings trilogy to reach me when nothing else could. I had no idea that I opened myself to a message of hope when I opened those books. The trilogy gently called to me, then wrapped me in a warm embrace. I felt myself identifying with the struggle Frodo had with the ring. The relationship Frodo had with the ring paralleled my life. I had been living in overwhelming darkness. The darkness saturated me and threatened to destroy me. The Lord of the Rings works as a metaphor. The story paralleled the struggle between good and evil inside my heart. The genre of The Lord of the Rings is fantasy. The writer, J.R.R. Tolkien, delivers a very real struggle that was happening in my heart. Much like the evil ring of power, I felt the draw of evil telling me to drown my misery in selfish pursuits. Evil was driving me to self-destruct. Ralph Waldo Emerson famously said, "Fiction reveals truth that reality obscures." After going through much pain and fear, the desire to medicate my pain was more than I could bear. I found myself running into destructive behaviors with little regard for my own safety. I was running toward alcohol to escape the pain I was in for the abuse I suffered. In my world, the evil ring represented my constant efforts to overwhelm my pain with feeling good. I was pursuing selfish ambition and medicating my hurts to avoid looking at myself with sober mind. I hated who I was, so I was constantly striving to find wonderful distractions that kept me from seeing the reality that I was desperately limited in a dangerous world. The main character, Frodo, was on a mission to destroy the ring. The ring called to Frodo, compelling him to take matters into his own hands. Frodo was in a struggle to salvage his humanity. When Frodo gave into the ring, he found himself being mean to the people around him and seeking his own glory at the expense of others. I too saw that evil was trying to steal my ability to empathize with myself and others around me. I found myself justifying my self-destructive behaviors. I would justify my self-destructive behaviors by adopting a belief system that there is no good in the world. I struggled between hope and hopelessness. More and more I found myself letting go of the idea that hope is real. Evil seemed much stronger than good, so I found myself looking for ways to indulge in self-destructive tendencies without causing too much damage. I would lean into evil and hopelessness from time to time, just to numb myself from the reality that my life was meaningless and hopeless. Hope was always calling to me in the opposite direction. Hope seemed so small. I would ask myself, why should I keep suffering this humiliating dance between light and darkness? I felt as if hope were making a fool of me. Hope can be very painful. I wanted to give up many times, but I would keep finding things to carry me forward. The Lord of the Rings carried me forward. It is a great metaphor for my life struggles. I did not understand the effect the book had on me at the time. That is what made it so wonderful. A message of hope was delivered to me through a story and not by a judgmental person. God used a wonderful story to speak to me. I did not trust people, yet God had delivered a message of hope to me safely. I didn't understand the powerful hope the book had given me until many years later. I was inspired by seeing Frodo struggle through pain to make the world a better place. The story empathized with me. It spoke into my own feelings of dread and hope. The story is a metaphor for the human condition in the fight between good and evil in our own lives. I found out many years later that J.R.R. Tolkien was a devout Christian. Tolkien had thoughtfully and gently sewn his Christianity into a story, a seemingly harmless story. Jesus spoke to me in a still, small voice through Tolkien's prose. The Christian message had been delivered to me in a non-threatening way. The story of the Lord of the Rings called me forward into hope. Unbeknownst to me, the harmless story was perfect in its delivery of the message of hope. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed that chapter.